right, another day, another drama. This time the opposition in Ontario is demanding an investigation, apparently after a former Ontario Liberal candidate in Sudbury said his party, being the Win Liberals, offered him a job or an appointment if, of course, he would step aside in the upcoming by-election. His name is Andrew Olivier. He claims he was asked to step aside so that a choice candidate could be appointed or acclaimed. Premier Wynne, of course, says, poof, didn't happen. So let's talk to Rebecca. Well, she didn't really actually say she didn't happen. She was just very kind of ambiguous about it. So let's bring in Rebecca Thompson to talk about this stinky headline that basically got no attention, but to me it is everything wrong in politics. Looks like this arrangement was made with an Ottawa MP, NDP Glenn Thibault, and he was going to come in and run in this by-election that was just vacated by an NDP MPP who decided, like, after a day on the job that it wasn't for him.
Yeah, this was, so Andrew Olivier, who is in a wheelchair, he is disabled.
Quadriplegic from a car accident.
That's right. Yeah. And he ran in the last election in June, and he was defeated by the NDP candidate by just under 1,000 votes. Well, along comes Kathleen Wynne in this by-election that's going to be coming up and decides, you know what, let's do away with this open nomination process and let's put in this prized NDP MP from Sudbury, Glenn Thibault, who has been an MP for quite some time, and he will be the star candidate. But
which is fine, because if they're not having, you know, open nomination, she has the right to do that. But where it gets stinky is with this alleged phone call.
Andrew Olivier was extremely excited to run in this by-election, just as he had in the last election. He gets a phone call from, he gets 3 phone calls. First of all, he gets a phone call from one of the top dogs in fundraising with the Ontario Liberals, who says, step aside, please, we have someone else. Well, I don't want to step aside, he says, and then he was told that, well, maybe there's a job or an appointment for you. So then a day later, guess who calls him? Kathleen Wynne. You know what, Andrew, there is a job or an appointment down the road for you. So now what we heard from Kathleen Wynne yesterday when she was asked about this was she said there was no specific job on the table outlined for him, but there was the prospect of a job or of appointment, according to Andrew. So this is...
Did he tape the calls?
He took the calls.
Did he tape the calls?
I don't know if he taped the calls.
That would be very crucial, because it'll be his word against their word. Now, she didn't say she didn't call, because she can't deny that she didn't call, correct?
She didn't deny that she didn't call. She didn't deny that she didn't talk about a job. All she said was, in her comments, was that a specific job was not put on the table.
Okay, so where's the problem here, other than it sounds like a little bit of a bribery, well, if the allegation were to be one, and what would the police be looking into?
So the Ontario Tories have identified 2 areas of the criminal code where this would contradict, that this could be theoretically against the law because of the concept of a bribery. So the Ontario Provincial Police are going to have to look into it, of course. Who knows what's going to happen? We know that there's going to be a by-election in the short term where Andrew Olivier is not going to be able to run and Glenn Thibault is going to run. So
but he can run as an independent, which then would cause some problems, because he was very popular in that riding. Now, I don't know Glenn Thibault. Is he from Sudbury? Does he have a following there?
Oh, Glenn Thibault has been a very popular NDP MP for a long time.
From where? Okay, so he's got name recognition there. But I would think this could become problematic, because if this other gentleman decides to run, he would split the vote.
He would split the vote, because people from Sudbury are extremely mad. Probably the base is very mad. The head of the Liberal party in the area believed in an open nomination process. You know, you have to be scrupulous when you are the leader of the party. You have to be scrupulous when you are the party apparatus. Here we have the Ontario Liberals, whose party is based out of Toronto, making a decision against an open nomination process in Sudbury. What would be so wrong with allowing Andrew Olivier to run in a nomination against Glenn Thibault? You know, Glenn Thibault has a very popular name he's very popular in Sudbury, so he may win. It's all about selling memberships. It's all about getting your vote out.
Sure.
So why not allow the grassroots process to prevail?
And am I to understand that I don't even think the federal Liberals have a candidate there yet? So why wouldn't he then just cross over to run for a star candidate for Justin Trudeau?
Well, Glenn Thibeault is clearly star-crazed. He wants to, potentially get into cabinet. He's probably been promised some sort of lofty, role in the Ontario Liberal government.
Yeah.
Here's a chance to make more money. Here's a chance to be part of a government where you may get into cabinet, have control over some sort of portfolio. This is a far cry from being perpetually in opposition in Ottawa.
Well, let's see how this one plays out, but it stinks to high heaven, and it's just not a headline you want to get, looking like you're, giving people favors. I mean, it's just everything wrong in politics. The other, it was a busy day because the Liberals yesterday, Kathleen Wynne was speaking to a lunch crowd at the Economic Club, and I guess she thought she was telling an anecdotal story, and she thought it was funny. I don't think she actually hears what people say to her. Let's play the clip.
At a store in my neighborhood, I was looking for a video to look at while I was signing Christmas cards. And I was browsing the aisles when a young father from across the store yelled, "Kathleen, you've got to do better. You're wasting our money." So, both of these, he was having a bad moment, what can I say? But both of these interactions remind me of my ambition and my duty as Premier. They serve as reminders of why we're creating more opportunity and security, building a stronger economy and a more fair Ontario.
Two things stand out for me. Who the heck goes to the video store anymore? Seems outdated, but obviously they thought that was a pretty funny comment, and she chalks it up to he must have just been having a bad moment. There are a lot of people right now having bad moments because they can't afford to pay their bills, and she clearly doesn't see that someone yelling across the store could actually be saying, "Hey, you're doing a crappy job, and you're spending our money on scandal and waste and incompetence." That's just a bad day in her books. It's reality for millions of Ontarians who can't afford to live here anymore.
Yeah.
Just a bad day, I guess.
Well, I mean, it's a bad day for everybody, I guess, if she's, if...
She don't want to run into me in the store because I'll be yelling a lot more. Seriously.
Well, and this is the challenge, is that people in Ontario do feel as though the Ontario Liberals are not spending their money properly, that taxpayers' money is being thrown out the window, that, the Ontario Liberals are treating finances in Ontario like a bottomless piggy bank. And so the sentiment of this individual, even though the Ontario Liberals got elected with the majority just months ago, the sentiment of this individual is shared among many people in Ontario. And I don't know why she chose to tell that story.
I don't know why
because
either.
it makes her look arrogant a week after the Auditor General completely issued a scathing report on the Ontario Liberals for not managing money, for not providing value for money on a number of programs.
Right.
And then her energy minister coming out and saying, well, I don't believe in her numbers.
Yeah, and she said that too, but her answer back to him should have been, you're right, and we need to do better. And I'm going to take what you have to say to heart, and I'm going to do a better job because I'm hearing all of Ontarians, not just those that I've shelled out a lot of money for. That was a moment that she could have captured and said, he's right, we are not doing a good job, and we will do better. But instead it's a bad day. I mean, look, they just got $1 billion plus from the federal governments. So the Prime Minister doesn't meet with her, but he's given her $1.5 billion more in transfer payments. And they're still putting their hand out for more. I mean, her new nickname is going to be Whiny Wynne because they make so much noise and she just keeps, but that hand will keep going out because Ontario is such a have-not province now.
Well, it's the easy way for Kathleen Wynne to try to deflect from the terrible headlines that she's been suffering from over the past week or the past 2 weeks. She's obviously targeting Stephen Harper. This is not the first time. We've seen it. We saw it during the election, for example, and asking for money, even though, just in context, in 2009, Ontario was the only province that had never collected equalization payments. And then lo and behold, they keep collecting more every single year.
It's been a telling week. John Tory didn't ask for a meeting. He got a meeting. Kathleen Wynne got the money. And there is a message being sent there, but none again. She'll be asking for more because they don't have a plan to solve these problems. We'll leave it there, and we'll see you again tomorrow because you got stuff coming up tomorrow.